Holly Cotton here, and I am so excited about our show today. So I have Miss Chakirah Knight, and you guys know I'm always on my Explore page. And Shakira had a reel that just showed up on my Instagram, and we're going to talk about all of that. But she is doing big things. Shakira, excuse me, Shakira is a life purpose coach, a mental health mentor. She also has workshops where she cultivates mental health issues. She sheds light on creatives in the music industry. She talks about healing journeys. She's all just everything that has to do with the holistic healthcare is Miss Shakirah Knight. So welcome, Shakira.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
And just so y'all know, put some respect on my name because Shakira says she went through on my reels and she loved all my videos.
I sure did. I watched your content and I was like, yes, you're doing what needs to be done.
Thank you. Just so y'all know. Um, so before we go into all the great things about Shakira, I wanted to just talk firstly about the reel that caught my eye, and that was the one that, of course, went viral that
Yeah,
everyone has shared numerous times, and it was about being strong. And
yeah,
so I say this all the time, and my first book was called Strong More Than Muscles, and it was about my journey with cancer. And I always say that, I realize that strength comes from mental mindset. It has
yeah,
nothing to do with your muscles. And I love that you said in that little 15-second clip that everyone watched a million times, you said, I don't want to be strong. I want to
yeah,
be fragile because being fragile means you're going to take care of me. And oh my God, when I tell you that just slapped me in the face because I was like, that's what I've been trying to say and didn't know the words to say it.
yeah.
So give us a little bit of the backstory of how that became like a thought process, how that reel went viral. Like, give us all of that because I want to know.
So basically, I had the opportunity to do a collab with this really, really, really dope guy, Satis. He has a brand called Thinking Out Loud. So he usually provides platforms to creatives themselves, and he basically is really dope. Like he puts you in a dark room. He doesn't preface anything that he's gonna ask you. It's literally like a one-shot deal. He asks you questions for your vulnerability and to be authentic, and that's how it happens. So he ended up asking me at this moment. I can't think of the question, but he asked me something, and it was kind of just like for me, I think just in our culture, just as women in itself, we're so used to being so strong and so independent. And I come from a generation of women where it was very much like you don't depend on anybody for anything. You do it yourself. You don't ask for help. You know what I mean? And for me, like throughout my healing journey, I went through a process of it having a really bad effect on how I cultivate my relationships with people or how I deal with certain situations because I was struggling. I was very much like doing everything on my own, and it was a really, really tough time for me. And I was like, you know what? I started to think about packages and how people packaging, and I'm like, when you have that little fragile sign across them, the glass boxes or this or that, I'm like, people treat it more delicate.
Yeah, I love all of that. I love all of that, Shakira. I love all of that. But I mean, it's so true though, because yeah, it's like when something is strong or someone, and I could tell you that, oh my gosh, it drove me crazy because even when I got diagnosed with cancer, that was like the first, and it's 11 years
Oh
now,
my
but that was like
gosh.
the first thing all my friends would say. And they were like, oh, if it happened to anybody else, we would be worried, but we know how strong you are. And I'm like,
Yeah,
you know
it's like
what?
they kind of like, they don't give us, they don't humanize us because it's like, yeah, I'm strong, but like I still have feelings just like you. I still go through different things just like you. So like treat me like I'm you at some point, like I have feelings. So it's tough being that strong, independent woman. It is.
So, how did you go? So, were you already doing all of the things that you're doing, like the mental health advocate, being the mentor, all of those things? Were you doing those things before you sat down and you did that video or that show or the episode, or did that sort of propel you into saying, wow, this is something now that maybe I need to use my voice to share more of these types of things?
So I was already doing mental health things and workshops and all those things of the nature. It was already being done. I think it's been 3 years now prior to me doing the video recently. So after the video though, normally I'm the one asking the questions. So that was kind of like the first time I really was like interviewed. So I was super nervous. I was like, oh my God, it's me behind the camera this time. Like, I don't know what to think and do. But I've been super transparent with my healing journey and things that I've, gone through in life. So when he asked me, I was like, absolutely. But I just didn't expect. What felt good for me is because not that I'm private, but I am learning as my healing journey progresses. I've learned to like tell different parts of my story because no one can tell the story better than I can, of course. So in telling that, I was kind of nervous, like, oh my God, like I'm talking about something that's very dear to my heart, like my vulnerability. So when I did the video and then it came out and it resonated with so many people, I was just like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Like it's such a good feeling to know that the space that I was in, because it was just me, just naturally, I was in a dark space and me just being vulnerable and stating that it was so many women, even men. And I was just like, we're all going through so many things and people don't get to see it. Like we're just so used to posting the accolades and the triumphs and all these things of that nature. So it was really, I was just so happy that it resonated with so many people. It was really a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine because it's like you say that one little thing, and I always try, even when I edit my shows, because sometimes it'll be a 50-minute episode because we just went into like all of these topics, and it's like trying to find 3 minutes or 4 minutes of stuff to splice it when it was so many things. But I'm like, I hope this resonates with one person. I
Yeah.
hope this shows this person in such a way that it inspires other people. So I totally understand what
Yeah.
you're saying. Now, let me ask you
Hmm.
this. So, how did you get into this whole life coach, mental health mentor? How did that transpire to where that's what you're doing now?
So honestly, it just came from my own personal life experiences. I was in a space a few years ago where I was very much struggling. Mental health awareness wasn't a big thing for me. It was very much like suck your feelings up, and everything was classified as feelings and suck it up. So once I started doing like my own like reading and learning and processing certain things, I was like, wow, like all this information, I feel like because I've suffered so much, like I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, you're so happy, you're so loving, you're so kind. And I tell that comes from pain. Like people don't realize, like when they see me, like, you're always smiling, Shakira, you're always in such a, that comes from pain. That comes from me knowing struggle. That comes from me knowing pain, how to process pain. That's why I'm so loving. That's why I'm so caring. Like that's from all the losses that I've taken that has turned into lessons. That's why I'm the person I am today. So me realizing that so many people are going through what I'm going through and don't have an outlet to speak, or don't have the resources, or just scared in general to talk about it or anything like that. That's why I'm like, you know what? I need to provide a space where I can be transparent so I can tell people like I'm just like you. Like we're one and the same, and also provide a safe space so people can feel like it's okay to talk about your problems. Like we're all going through so many things. Life is hard. It truly is. It really is. And I feel like I needed to be that voice to allow people to understand that if we keep creating spaces where people can talk about it, whether you're, high up in the industry, or, you have a regular 9 to 5 or whatever it is, like we're all human. We all experience the same things. We may process it differently, or we may make different life choices, but the feelings remain the same. It doesn't matter what gender, what race, what national, it doesn't matter. We all are human and we feel these things. So having spaces where we can, talk about it and share our experiences will make it so much easier for us to come together as a village. Like they're like, oh, it takes a village to raise a child, which I know because I'm a single parent. But the same thing with mental health. As we become adults, we still need to cultivate those safe spaces, those circles, those sisterhoods, those brotherhoods, whatever it is, to create that space so we can be our authentic selves and we can survive, because life is tough. It's hard out here.
It is. It's hard out here. Look, oh Lord, we're just trying to survive. And as you were talking, I wanted to just sort of kind of sidebar on something that you said, because I feel like when I started doing my show a year and a half ago, I kind of was on, I guess, my own growth
Hmm.
journey, and I kind of thought I had some stuff figured out, and then I would start talking to other people, and I sort of became like this mental health advocate. I started doing being in these spaces where people were talking more about their feelings, which allowed me to figure out how to process my
Hmm.
feelings. And so when I tell people that I'm on this growth journey, I feel like just talking to other people and being surrounded by other people, and like even listening to you say certain things, I'm going to implement that into something I say another time,
Yeah.
or it's like part of a growth journey. Do you feel like that has given you more clarity on certain situations by being in these spaces and hearing other people's story? Do you think that that's helped you become a better mental health advocate and life coach by listening to other people's
Oh,
stories?
of course. For me, I'm very much, consider myself a person. And when you share these stories or you share experiences, it becomes a space where you then, human connection, you connect with these people on a different level. And I feel like everyone needs that to a certain degree. There's a bunch of like energy exchange that's happening, a bunch of connection. And if the energy is in a space where it's very positive, I always tell people I'm always a student. I'm always learning from someone. Even if we're not experiencing the same exact thing, there's always a lesson to be learned in someone's story. So I'm really, really big on people just being authentic and sharing their stories with each other so we can learn from each other and grow. That's the me, I'm so big on like growth and change and accepting change, because without it, who wants to be stagnant? Life is too short to be in the same place all the time, or to allow fear or like self-sabotage just put you in a space where you're not, developing or growing.
I just said that, girl. When I tell you, you are like my holistic soul
We
sister.
here.
I literally, I just told someone that, and I don't even remember what the episode was about, but I was saying how it's so hard for people that have known you to grow with you and accept the person that you've grown into. And I'm like, you know me, but you don't know the person that I am growing. You know
That
who
part.
I was. Right. You know who I was, but you don't know who I am. And a lot of times people want to hold you into that was category and not allow you to be the who you are right now. And it's like, how does my growth and how does me being able to react to something differently hinder you? Let me be grown.
Listen, I've been there so many times, and people are like, I had to really learn like the art of detachment, because even within like family and different relationships, it was really hard for me, because I'm like, people are like, that's your brother, that's your this, that's your that, and I'm like, but it's draining me. Is this? Is that? It's so negative. It's toxic. It's this. It's all these things, and I really had to learn like. I had to really, and I know it's like so cliche, like protect your energy, protect your peace, blah, blah, blah. But I promise you, it's such a real thing. It is such energy transfer is such a real thing, and I feel bad for people who don't really understand what that is. Like it's so heavy, and people sometimes don't realize like, oh, I don't know why when I go around this person I feel so heavy, or I feel anxious, or I feel like I'm walking on eggshells and nothing even happened. It's that energy transfer, baby. It is that energy transfer. And sometimes I think within that, people put you in a box, and I'm like, please don't box me in. I don't box myself, and so don't box me in, because I'm allowing myself to grow, and because I'm different and you're not accepting to change and difference, that doesn't mean that I'm supposed to stay where I am. So either you could come along with me, or I'm gonna love you from a distance.
Mhm.
I'm so big on loving people from a distance. I'm like, there's no malice, there's no nothing, but baby, I can't stay where you at. I can't stay where you are.
I'm gonna see you
Yeah,
off of there.
like
I'm gonna see you on the
it's no
ground.
love lost. Like, but yeah,
If you ever hear me tell you I'm gonna see you on the ground, that means I don't like your vibes or your
ah,
energy,
I
because
might have to use that.
that is my biggest. I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna see you on the ground, because we ain't never gonna be in the same space
Yeah,
again. Like, yeah,
I'm gonna have to use that one.
yeah, I'm gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shakira, my newest book is called Somebody's Wife or Not: Discovering Self Love in Single Life. And I really thought that there was this kind of niche that needed to be
Mm-hmm.
filled where we actually talked about embracing singlehood as a single person, learning to love yourself, stop confusing being lonely with alone and making us settle for stuff that we shouldn't. I'm like, can you please love yourself? Can you please learn that the value of yourself should not be based on how someone else values you? So, with you and all of the hats that you have as far as our mental health, give us some of your advice or your input on self love in single life.
So for me, because I am very much single, I've been single for a while, so very much single for a long time. I'm so big, like when I speak to people, if you don't know yourself and you indulge in a relationship, whether it could be any a platonic relationship, romantic relationship, you're going to lose yourself. And I'm speaking from personal experience as well. Like even my past relationships, I was very much trying to figure out who I was. So I was kind of infusing myself within this other person and their dynamic and basically soul searching through someone else and trying to find my happiness through someone else when it is so important to be self-aware. When you're self-aware and you get that pure love from yourself first and you can stand firm in your know and you know who you are and you know what your purpose is and you know your non-negotiables, it will make you so much of a better person because baby, when you don't, the things that I went through, the things that I experienced of just confusing what it was to give love to someone and being manipulated or being gaslighted or just all these things, when you have no idea what that is, I consider, like I tell people, like to think about a Venn diagram, from like high school. So it's like the three circles. So it's like, here's you, here's your partner, and then the middle is where you guys are supposed to meet. Sometimes people just indulge and it's like a complete overlap and it's so bad. It's so bad. And from my own personal experiences, from experience I've seen from friends and family members, like getting wrapped up and lost in someone else and having attachment issues and not knowing what your attachments are, or being codependent. It's like so many different layers to being a human being and processing different relationships and indulging in different relationships the proper way. Not knowing yourself and not having any self-love, it can be really, really bad. It can really hinder you as a person as a whole.
And I think also one, I always say I have to work. I'm on my growth journey. I got to tell my men, y'all got to be patient now. I'm healing. I'm not
I
healed.
mean,
I'm healing.
yes.
So sometimes them triggers, I'll be like, man, f all of this. You know
you
what?
you gotta you
You
gotta be like,
good.
wait, I'm not that person anymore, but listen, you
But sometimes I'm like, you will. Let me tell you something. I went through that for 17 years. I ain't gonna deal. And then I gotta go, Holly.
Yeah, but
What is
sometimes, and I tell people all the time, like, yes, I am, oh, mental health, and I'm like, oh, this is great, and positive energy, and this and that, but I am still who I am, and I will very much probably cuss you out and then pray for you in the end, because sometimes people need that. It is all about balance. Life is about balance, and I promise you, I would not be real to myself if I said, oh, I'm always so that. I am absolutely not. And I tell people that's why I'm like, my platform, I'm probably gonna talk a bunch of junk. I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna curse you out. I'm gonna give you some advice. I'm gonna do everything on the one because that's what makes me me, and that's what people relate to. Like I'm not this super super positive, very much. That's not how life goes. And every day, something might try you. Every day, you know.
well, I mean, and it's like just because I am about positive energy and positive vibes doesn't mean that we don't have those realistic sort of reactions to certain things. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I got to remind myself of who I am and who I was. I'm like, you know what? Come on, Holly Cotton. Let's remember where we are. Remember where we are.
Mhm.
So I
I'm
love that.
telling
I
you.
love that.
Me too. I'm the same way. I'm like, listen, it's all right. Sometimes you got to get thrown back into the trenches and be like, wait a minute, hold on, let me
And
gather
also
myself.
sometimes you got to remind the MFer that you ain't the one. I'm like, okay, I know y'all see this right here. This very defined and bougie and
Mm-hmm.
la la la. But baby, let me tell you something.
That's me. I'm going to be like, please don't try me. Because if you poke the bear, you're not going to like what's coming after. It's
I
not.
know. I hate that. I'm like,
I'm
I'm
like,
trying to be
I just prevent it.
big.
Like, let's just prevent it from happening. We don't have to go there because once you cross that line, yeah, it's all bets off. It's
I
not
know.
pretty.
Okay, girl, we know. Well, let me tell you, if it goes down, just know we can go back to back. I got you back.
Right.
Okay, as we go on to church in Loa. Okay,
Uh
Lord
huh.
forgive us. So what I wanted to what I wanted to ask you next, Shakira, is about, like I said when we were talking about your bio, and you were talking about some of your workshops that you do,
Mhm.
because this is something that you're actually doing and you're impacting a huge people. You're not just talking and out of the side of your face and just trying to be motivational. Like, you actually are having real workshops. This is something that you really do. So tell us about the career that you have as all of the mental health advocacy and the life coaches and the workshops. Tell us about the career part of Shakira.
So that part for me, I've learned to kind of make it one. You know how sometimes we're like, oh, I separate this and that. When it comes to mental health, I don't. I feel like in order for me to have a successful career in this field, I have to be authentic. And in order to be authentic, I have to stay the same in every, of course, there's professionalism and things of that nature, but I'm very much me. What you see is what you get. And that's why, I hold myself accountable for a lot of things, and I stand in my purpose and I stand in my no. And that's why I feel like I'm successful in this career because there's no facade with me. There's no like Shakira's this one this way this day and this way that. This is what you get. What you get is what you see. So it's been super easy for the career aspect for me to just indulge in everything and wrap it all in one.
So if someone wanted to go to, like, if someone wanted to find, not stalk her, but find her to actually be a part of your mental health platform and the group, the community, all of that stuff. So how does someone find you, like, to go to one of your, like, how do these workshops or things, how are they set up?
So usually for me, I've been contacting a lot of like nonprofits and things like that. But when I do like my personal workshops, I normally just do social media. When I tell you social media is the gift of gap, it is the all access. So literally, I'll just either do a video. I'll do a video. I'll post on my personal page, my business page. I'll do stories. I'll do reels to get the traction, the marketing, and I just go from there. And I have people contact me personally through email, phone, or through DM, and we just go from there.
Okay, I love that. Just, I like to just throw that out there too, because people are like, okay, so, well, how can
Of
we be a
course,
part
listen,
of it? Or,
we love a shameless plug. That's how you connect with me.
that's right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't worry, we're gonna get to how we can get in touch with her. So the the last questions that I have is that I also wanted to, like you said, we are always being transparent about this growth journey, and we're always being transparent with the ups and downs of healing, not being healed. So what about, as you mentioned before, there are the struggles of old Shakira to new Shakira. So what have been some of the challenges that you faced with becoming this person that is a mental health advocate, becoming someone who is a life coach? What are some of the challenges that you've had with this person that you've evolved to become?
Honestly, boundaries. So with me, like I realized that I was definitely a people pleaser. Heavy, heavy, heavy people pleaser. So within people pleasing, I always felt like I had to fix. So I was always fixing, fixing, fixing till I was completely drained and there was nothing left for me. So within this healing journey, I've learned that you have to stand on your boundaries. Oh my God. When I tell you they are so important in life, like you have to know when enough is enough. You have to know when to leave a situation. You have to know, you know what I mean? Like boundaries are so, so important. And that honestly, that's been like my saving grace, having boundaries.
That's a good point. Good point. Yes, yes. And I think I had a guest one time, and she actually, I don't remember how she said it, but I'll paraphrase it. And it was something like standards versus boundaries. And so she was saying that, you know, I have boundaries are sort of like informal rules, but my standards are what I am and am not going to do. And so I think that's important. So she was like, so if I'm leaving at 5 o'clock and I'm in a workplace or whatever, my standard is don't come in my office at 4:10 asking me to do so. Like she was trying to explain the difference between that. But I guess it was kind of like the same thing that you're saying, because giving people access to you is very draining.
Yes.
Very draining.
Yeah, and people
So
ask me
what do
too.
you
They usually ask me too, like, how are you in this field and you're not drained? I'm like, listen, I'm so big on like cleaning my energy I'm like so big on that because when people tell a story, sometimes I tell people when people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about it now, you have to really be mindful of the spaces you create and the conversations that you indulge in, because when you tell a story, there's a lot of energy transfer, especially if it's negative. Sometimes if it's someone you care about, like a family member telling you a story, you're like, what happened and this, and you're feeling all these emotions just like them. So yeah, you have to just be very, very mindful.
and that's actually when I tell you you started talking and I was just about to say that. I was about to say, and also when you are in a mental health field or whenever you're listening to people talking about mental health issues, there is a need for us to also have that decompression and a way to at the conversation and not take it home. And
Yeah,
even me being a nurse for how many ever years, like I know I used to get so vested in my patients and their care, and it would be hard if they're dying, like you take all
yeah,
of that
yeah.
home. So what do you do for the decompression? We know you love your Jesus, we know but what do you do for
Honestly,
self-care to
I write, I journal a lot. I make sure I get out to some type of water. And I listen to music. When I tell you music is like holy grail, I promise you. Like, and that's what kind of made me kind of shift towards wanting to create a platform where a lot of people in the industry and entertainment industry can share their journey, because how sometimes you listen to a song and it's like, I'm completely drained, I'm completely done for the day, but I put on music and it's like the songs are saying words to my soul. Like, and I'm like, people that are writing these things, they're clearly going through things. You know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like the way social media is today, it's very much like glitz and glamour and all these things, and people don't really see the hard work and the time and the effort that goes into the making these songs and the production and things of that nature. So being able to allow these artists to be like, no, I'm human too. Like, I did this when this song came out, or I was going through this, or my family or my friends, or you know what I mean? So music, definitely, like, for sure, music and journaling and just getting out in nature, it does the trick for me. And of course, my baby, I have a daughter who's 12, so she, looking at her and just doing things with her, she's like so innocent and so full of life. Like, it really, really helps.
yeah, and it also gives you that motivation because you're like, God, now I really have to live the best life I can because I have a legacy
Yeah.
to sort of. Oh, I know they stress. Well, let me just tell you, it never, no matter how old they get, you still feel the same way because mine are grown. I don't want to tell my age because I still try to stay fine. But I can't tell you how old my kids are because then people are like, wait a minute, the math? No, we don't start doing the math.
Listen,
Don't
don't
start
start
doing
doing
the
the.
math. Okay, I know, I know. All right. So tell everyone how they can follow you, support you, subscribe, all of that good stuff, website, Instagram, all your hashtags, everything.
All right, so my personal Instagram is Kira. Hold on, you're like, I gotta think about it now. It's Kira with two A's, H dot XO. That's my personal page. And then my business page is BeHeard.bh. You guys can follow that. I do a lot of reels. Yeah, but if anyone wants to connect with me, my email is shakirahknight@gmail.com. But yeah, definitely social media, best way to go. When I tell you I'm active on there all the time, DM me, write a comment, like let me know if you guys want to collab. I'm so transparent and open to working with other people and just sharing my story. If you want to share your story, if you have something to say, right here, let me know.
I love that. And I do the same thing. I'm like, so look, hit me on my business email, Instagram DM.
Listen, the same way. It's
It's
when
like,
I tell you it's like this, like especially with notifications and things. I'm like, sometimes email even takes longer. Hit me on Instagram.
mm-hmm.
I'm there. Meet me there. Meet me over there.
Yes, unless I tell you I'm gonna see you on the gram, because that means I ain't messing
I'm
with
gonna
you.
have to
But
listen.
yeah,
That's my new. I'm taking that from you, Holly. That's it. See you on the ground, cause never again.
I love it. I love. You can borrow it. I
Thank
don't
you.
mind. I don't mind. And I will also have all of Shakira's information. You guys know in the podcast notes I always put clickable links, so you don't even have to go searching for anything. So all of her socials and everything that she shares, excuse me, will be in the podcast notes. And so, Shakira, I always like to give someone an opportunity because, sometimes I may not have asked the question the right way, or maybe we didn't phrase something the right way. But if you have anything that you want to say that you feel like you didn't say today, or if you have some inspiration that you want to share with the listeners and the viewers, please give us some information.
Honestly, I just want to give you your flowers, girl, because I'm so grateful that you
Oh,
connected with me, and I really, really like watch the content that you make. And in the mental health environment, it's a tough space to really like connect with people and get them to share their stories and get them comfortable enough. So I just want to tell you, you're doing an amazing job. I appreciate you, girl. And keep up the good work. That's all I want to say. I don't have nothing else to say because it's a tough space to be in, to connect with people and get them to be vulnerable or just, speak about certain stories and things of that nature. And you're doing amazing.
well,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
You guys, I did not pay her to say
She
that.
definitely
She said that on her own.
that was she definitely did it. She definitely
That was just authentic. Anyway, thank you so much, Shakira, and I love what you're doing. Keep using your voice, keep inspiring others. I love it. I love it. Obviously, you're doing something right because you, like you said, you've shown up on so many people's pages, just like mine, and your words definitely resonate with everyone. So I want you to keep doing what you're doing and being the change that we need as well. So thank you,
thank
boo.
you. It's so good being here.